Or if you watch some stuff in there, I would go in there.
Hush. It's getting ready to get ready.
You get to talk.
Oh.
Get out. You go
Right.
Go with the man cave.
Yeah, Fatima, I think that's the one. Oh, I like that show. That's a good one.
Oh man, oh yeah, come on, Friday.
Oh, right, it is one.
Wait, so we on episode 9 and this is
You can wait till we get up for it. We get done. Okay, the wife together. And Korea don't be on the stage.
What?
The team. Yeah, you're tripping. You never made a quick.
All right, here we go, man. We about to watch this film. Let's go.
But they were just if you did it out of ignorance, maybe, or you were forced to, so you
Let me
would
go
get
back a little
relocated
bit.
or had to move. Continuing from there, when they start just calling you, black and then African American, you still getting reclassified. All right, so go check out the videos we've done on this, my account and everybody else's channel. Now it says here a little bit in 1790, during the start of mass flood of European immigrants in the year of the first American census, the majority of American Indians, as well as the incoming European immigrants, were separated and reclassified based on 3 racial groups and were encouraged to choose white, colored, or mulatto based on your skin color when filling out a census. All right, so you hear that? American Indians were being encouraged. You had to choose one of the 3. All right. And choosing either 3. Now remember this: in these times, could be a benefit of you, or it could be something bad for you. Like you want to classify yourself as white, and that society, it's basically treating people who are called white better. And then you might say, well, I don't want to be considered colored because these people, live here, and then they got all these rights and all this stuff. And then mulatto was like, I'm mixed, I'm not mixed. So it was hard, I guess, but they were just, if you did it out of ignorance, maybe, or you were forced to, so you would get relocated or had to move, from your ancestral home. So it wasn't an easy choice, I guess. I mean, and they were doing this based on the complexion of how dark your shade was or how highlighted it was, your skin tones, right? So many American Indians whose skin tone was darker than a brown paper bag were automatically considered colored, or in today's term, black, all right, automatically. But it could be your cousin, your brother, your sister who's a little more light-skinned. They would be like white or mulatto, all right? Remember, we saw censuses that would change from white to black in 10 years, or white to mulatto to black, or mulatto to black, all right? Now, it says here the first American census, 1790, racial classifications. Every U.S. census since the first one has included questions about racial identity, reflecting the central role of race in American history, from the era of slavery to current headlines about racial profiling and inequality. But the ways in which race is asked about and classified have changed from census to census, as the politics and science of race have fluctuated, and efforts to measure the multiracial populations are still evolving. From 1790 to 1950, census takers determined the race of Americans they counted, sometimes taking into account how individuals were perceived in their community, or using rules based on their share of black blood. Americans who were multiracial ancestry were either counted in a single race or classified into categories that mainly consisted of gradations of black and white, such as mulattoes, who were tabulated with non-white population. Beginning in 1960, Americans could choose their own race. Since 2000, they have had the option to identify with more than one. So you didn't get to choose your own until 1960s, when they already knew you were a little more brainwashed. You might be forced to just forget who you are. So now you're you're volunteering to call yourself black, colored. You forgot that you were an American Indian. You had a tribal name. So it gives you an example here of 1860. It says, gives you the choices, color, right, white, black, or mulatto. So we've seen census from this time, right? All right. Now let's just read this a little bit. It says black or Negro, right? The word black may include all Negroes, but the term Negro does not include all black persons, right? We are of the opinion that words white, Negro, mulatto, and black person, whenever they occur in the American Constitution, must be taken in their generic sense. That the words black person in the 14th section must be taken as contradistinguished from white, and necessarily include all races other than the Caucasian. All right? Anybody else who's not pale Caucasian white. Among the regrettable practices which have resulted in the disparagement of the Indians on prime abuse is the unjustifiable and scandalous practice of calling them Negroes. They started calling you what? Coloreds or Negroes. Who? Indians. Perhaps by so doing, the intent was no other than to induce in them the belief that by their origins they had been destined to be the slaves, whites, as they did to the blacks on the coast of Africa. In America during those days, anybody considered white may refer to an Indian as a Negro, nor that they themselves may use this epithet among themselves, as is currently the case. The possibility that American Indians were quite commonly called Negroes is very much supported by Portuguese usage. During the colonial period, Brazilian Indians were repeatedly referred to as Negroes or as Negros de Terra. We've gone over this a lot. Many other scholars out there, many of our teachers in our community letting us know, that's what the Portuguese were calling the American Aboriginals. They were enslaving them or putting them into servitude, taking their land. They were calling them the Negros de Terra. Why would they call them Negroes of the land? All right, Negroes of the land. And many great examples from the 16th and later centuries are cited by George Frederici in his analysis of Portuguese sources. All right, look into it. You want to see the backup. This Portuguese usage is extremely significant, not only because American or part American slaves could be referred to as Negroes in early ship records, but also because it is very much affects one analysis of population statistics in colonial Brazil, where in fact the categories of Negro and mulatto must have often included domesticated or enslaved Indians and mixed bloods, insofar as the term Negro became synonymous with slave or a servile status. All right, now to this again. Insofar as the term Negro became synonymous with slave or servile status, indentured servitude, it lost any specific color reference and became a general term of abuse. Darker people referring to be called preto as a result. All right, so they didn't want to be called Negro. They're like, yo, just call me preto. All right. It is highly likely that the Spaniards also referenced to slaves generally as Negroes in the Caribbean, and that the Dutch took over the same general practice, since Negro and Neger were not Dutch words and had no immediate equivalent except zwart or swarty, dark skin, donker, and bruin. A Dutch, the Bruins, the Boston Bruins, so that's what it means. The Boston Blacks, the Bruins, the Negroes, the Boston what? All right. A Dutch-French-Spanish dictionary of 1639 has the following entry for Spanish, Negro, noir, sombre, oscur, offuscre, brun, right? Brun, French, swart, donker, bruin, Dutch. Bruins, now we know where they get their name from, the Boston Bruins. We know hockey was made with the first people actually who had a league was so-called Negroes in Canada. All right, they started the first hockey league. All right, and of course, if we know our history, these were Aboriginals of America. All right, we invented most of these sports, especially hockey. I got a future video on that. All right, we got the proof. All right, this is the true old world. All right, now we know what Bruins means. Thus, Spanish Negro could be translated as dark or brown as well as black, swart. All right, so just real quick, because we're talking about, Boston Bruins and, they play hockey, right? So real quick, I just want you to, because we think that's a white sport. We think that only Europeans or people up in Canada or pale-faced people play hockey, and that's only for them, not for an Aboriginal cup of color. You can't see an Aboriginal on ice, all that stuff. But I'm gonna let you know. This is a sneak peek to a video I'm working on. We're gonna be talking about all the sports and all the recreational activities that was originated here in America. That's a future video I got. Been wanting to do it for a while now. Haven't just starting to put some info together, but I got some really good books and info. We also have this encyclopedia that we've had around, sharing it with each other, going around and looking at all the contributions that the Aboriginals gave to the world. And one of those things is hockey. All right, let me just show you. All right, because remember, we're talking about the so-called Negro. We're talking about American Indians. All right, so it says hockey field and ice shiny, right? Pre-contact, North American Great Plains, Plateau, Southwest, and Northeast cultures. Hockey is a popular sport currently played throughout the world by teams of players who attempt to knock a ball into the opponent's goal by using curved sticks. While modern field hockey, whose players are usually women, is played on a grassy field, ice hockey is played on ice-covered court. Both games are based on There we go. Based on American Indian stickball game called Shiny, all right? Which was played by tribes throughout North America well before Europeans arrived on the continent, all right? Hockey was created here. Hockey originated here. So when they're telling us Boston Bruins means Negro or black, so-called black, right? Bruin. Now we know why they named where they're getting these names from.
Watch this. Just like brunette. When you see that, when they say brunette, that's a darker skinned woman, a brunette. I'm telling you, big facts, man.
Do it in all these sports teams. They have a lot of subliminal, names on this, and it's all usually indigenous names or references that they're using. Even the sport itself, it's indigenous. All right, so the first people that taught them to do this was Indians. So they're just mimicking, they're mocking really when they're saying Boston Bruins, because those were probably the Indians who taught them there. The Indians in the Northeast, in Boston, Massachusetts, and all these areas in New England is who taught them that. That's why, and they're naming them what? Bruins, right? Black or Negro, black. They probably try to make it seem like it's Blackbeard, but they just tell you right here. Well, we just read that it means Negro or black, the dark skin, not an animal. All right, so let's continue here. It says, frequently, Indians played shiny on ice. All right, frequently on ice. The players used a wooden ball or one made of buckskin that could only be touched with the stick or kicked with the feet. All right, it was primarily American Indian women who played shiny. Occasionally, men, sometimes co-ed teams played shiny games. These original versions of field hockey were known by many names, depending on the tribe that played it, but they were given the universal name of shiny by early anthropologists. All right, that's what they were calling it, shiny. They didn't want you to know, so they said it's the hockey, but the shiny. All right, an indigenous sport, American Aboriginal sport. You get creative, be like, look at the ice, man. This is always here. You might slide one day and with something on your feet, you'd be like, whoa, that was kind of cool. And then you start, ice skating. You're like, whoa, I can do this. And then you create shoes for it. You invent them, right? And then you have more than one person doing it. And then you guys are having fun. And then you grab a stick. And then you start hitting things with the stick, and it becomes fun, right? Yo, that was you. That was your ancestors creating all these sports here. Recreational. That's how you lived. You were just here, when I was telling you, you are very creative, all right? That's what I'm saying. They copy everything that came out of the Americas all over the world. We're like I'm saying, we're trendsetters, all right? It says the modern name hockey came from the Jesuit missionaries, all right? They came from Jesuit missionaries who observed Indians living in what is now Canada, playing the game, all right? So the Jesuit missionaries were like having so much fun or entertainment. They were entertained. Remember, picture this. They're like, this is business. They're like, ooh, this can entertain our king and queen.
Yeah.
All right, and they were already planning it right there. They were like, So they were so intrigued that you were ice skating. We're talking about Aboriginal, so-called Negroes, right? So the Jesuit missionaries observed the Indians living in what is now Canada playing the game. Hoquette. Now listen to this. Hoquette is the French word for a shepherd's crook and referred to the curved sticks the players used to propel the ball down the field. Hoquette. Although evidence exists that the Greeks and the Egyptians also played stickball games, historians have been unable to find a link between those games and the sport as it is played today. No proof that it's the same sport, but if they want to go ahead and try to say Greeks and Egyptians, well, where were the original Greeks and Egyptians? Where was ancient Egypt? We're talking about Tamari? Are we talking about here, Little Cairo here, Memphis, Mississippi, the mounds? We're talking about Ohio all the way up to Wisconsin? What are you talking about? The Grand Canyon? So, don't even try that, hijack. Don't even try that. Because at the end, you're saying there's no link. All right? It's not the same. They learned it from us. They brought it over there, and they couldn't even mimic it right. There ain't no ice over there. What, you going to skate? What, are you going to do hockey on the sand? Come on. All right? So I just wanted to bring you here. Again, this was the Encyclopedia of American Indian Contributions to the World. 15,000 years of inventions and innovations. We're going to get all in this book. And, I haven't even touched it with you guys. All right, so we got so much info coming. All right, so real quick, because you're saying, yo, Kurimeo, man, stop making up things. All right, so now we know that Bruins means, colored or Negro or black, right? And we saw that hockey was invented by Aboriginals, American Indians. We already know who the American Indians are. Now I'm going to show you who officially invented hockey or played it first, all right? And it's you're going to see, all right? So we're at the YouTube channel CLB TV. Respect for bringing this information to us. Go like and subscribe, to this channel. This video was really eye-opening for me because it linked basically what I'm about to show you, all right? So let's just hear this elder out, all right? And look at this information. So,
Getting to the root of black inventions. People talk about Black History and Black History Month and all that, and that's all well and fine. But I think that to get to the root of black inventions, one has to determine what white people love the most. Currently, there are two things young white boys historically like very much, especially after World War II. This has been ongoing over the decades. That's rock and roll and the game of hockey. This story began in Nova Scotia by way of New York and the Underground Railroad especially. But during slavery, a lot of people don't know this. That's when the game of hockey was invented. And it started.
Now remember, if any of my muftis on here, Nova Scotia, Canada, remember the Queen Nanny and the Jamaican Maroons. When you start doing your research, you will see that they shipped a lot of the indigenous people from their land to Canada, to cold areas.
In Canada.
All right, so dodge the hijack, right? So that's what they're telling people, right? They're telling people. So we just went to the encyclopedia, right? We know hockey was started by the Aboriginals, the American Indians, all right?
We were already
Maybe this
there.
person right here is not really informed about all, not going far back enough, and at his time,
already
and maybe
people
he
there.
doesn't
That's
know
what I'm saying.
he is the
That
Indian.
look like you.
All right, not slave. He's not a slave. He's a descendant of an American Indian. All right, I don't know if he knows that yet at this moment in time. I don't know how old this video is, or if he ever knew, or believed his grandma, or maybe that he was just part. I don't know, man. I'm just saying, dodge the hijack because he just said it was created during slavery times, but we know it's way older than that.
Yep.
All right. Now he's gonna tell you why they think this is a story they have. So he's telling you it's in Canada, right? I was invented in Canada. We already know that the North American Indians, we just read, the Jesuit priest, right? The Jesuit priest was watching the American Indians play hockey. And on ice, playing hockey, on ice, a sport just like hockey. So where you think, did these ex-slaves, so-called ex-slaves, go up to Canada and watch the Indians play, and then they mastered it? it's the same people, all right? Dodge the hijacks. But let's just continue with this info so you can see.
When I was in high school, I marveled at stories about one lone hockey player that I would hear about every now and then. Or an NHL, he playing for an NHL or minor league team. The White Boys in South Buffalo, they were rest assured that, hockey was their sport. They were confident that hockey was their game. Now, little did I or they know that in the beginning, way before the NHL, hockey was blacker than basketball. So a lot of people don't realize it. I wrote some things down about that because I think there are a lot of things that need to be revealed that have been deliberately hidden from us.
All right, so hockey was blacker than basketball. Did you know that? Did you know there was a bunch of hockey teams, the first teams that existed? This is before even the NHL and all that started. They had leagues, they had like these teams, right? And it was all aboriginals, right? These are American Indians you're looking at in this picture. These are not African slaves or ex-slaves or anything like that. That's the false history they taught us. So that's just the narrative that's being pushed here. Maybe not on purpose, but that's what they have to go with, right? Because that's what it's in they teach us in schools, right? But we know, we're learning now. We've been known the last, 3 or 4 or 5 years now. We've been gathering all this info. A lot of brothers and even your family members and a lot of people out there that's already grow up in tribes and stuff. Everything's coming together. It's very clear who the American Indian was, all right? So let's start the hijack again.
We talk about one black hockey player or whatever, or even back in those days an all-black hockey team. How about a black hockey league or leagues, plural? That's what was going on. You white kids, a lot of white kids out there, especially from Boston, who cursed and aimed racial slurs at PK Subban a few weeks ago, or Joel Ward 2 years ago, both of them coincidentally scoring the winning goals in playoff games against their beloved Boston Bruins. These same kids would be shocked to realize that there were all black hockey leagues in Canada, just a couple hundred years ago.
All right, a couple hundred years ago? What are we really talking about when we're saying so-called black leagues? These are American Indians. You see, they were kicking ass. They were mad. They went to play the Bruins, and the white people got mad because they lost, because these brothers were scoring. These American Indian aboriginals who were good at it. They were the ones skating. Just before you knew anything about fear and fear of water and fear of ice, you were trying out everything. Wherever region you were, you dominated. You became skillful at everything that was around you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you became good at it. So if there's snow and ice, well, you dominated. You became good at that. All right, maybe even for survival, you were catching things and on ice, walking on ice, fishing. But it became a sport. This is ancient. Now he's saying a couple hundred years back, everything was black. All hockey was black. So-called black. Touch the hijack.
And they would be shocked to view photographs and stories of the first black hockey players. By the time of the 1890s, of course, this is hockey as you know it started. Because that's when the bourgeois, Lord Stanley type people took over hockey. But before then, I would say the year 1815. The year 1815, you heard me right, around the month of October, that's the first recorded history of hockey being played in Canada.
1815.
This was at Halifax, Nova Scotia. According to George and Daryl Fossey, they wrote a book called Black Ice. I guess they also put together an ESPN special on it. Hockey and black hockey and black history, they both parallel each other around that time. There is no history
Look at my cousin.
of hockey, black, whites, or blacks, before 1815.
Look at his eyes.
It started with black players from families
Like Mr. Good
at that time during the fall of 1815.
All right, so again, we know it started with the American Indians, right? It's the American Indians that invented this, and it's the same people he's calling black. All right, so yes, it would be rational, it would be logical that it would be these so-called four people that invented it, right? So they narrowed it to these down. Maybe they're the ones who just made it or patented it, or said, hey, let's make a sport out of it with the pale faces. Let's make a business out of this, right? Like, why? Because it's part of their historical tradition. It's one of their culture, right? It's part of their culture to play the sport, right? With their family members, their friends, and their tribes. Maybe that's how they settled arguments with other tribes, because that's what they did in Mesoamerica with their sports. All right, let's continue. Dodge the hijack.
The Corney family, the Williams family, the Monroes, and the Leals, Leale. Through much of the most of the Black Canadian history, this has all been destroyed. Okay, or lost. They're probably both. But this is the earliest. 1850 was the earliest history of hockey, and it was all black. Amazingly enough, this is something that needs to be broadcast repeatedly, because what you have today is a misinformation machine that's making young white kids think that that's their sport, that's all white sport. And oddly enough, you got basketball. Basketball's invented by a white man, but it's played mostly by African American players. Game of hockey started by escaped slaves.
All right, so let's dodge the hijack again. He said African American. Nope. American Indians, American
baby.
played the game of basketball. We know with the ball, the rubber ball and all that rubber itself, and the ball, and where there's ball courts, and they play basketball, football, everything. I'm gonna have a video. I'm gonna show you all this. Okay, this is part of real anthropology, real research. All right, we're not just making stuff up here, and it's not to disrespect this elder right here, but obviously, he's missing that information. And maybe I think if he knew, he would embrace it. He'd be like, wow, no wonder. He'd be like, no wonder. It all makes sense. Doesn't it all make sense now?
It all makes sense, man.
Those slaves were they became more than just hockey players. They became activists. Very bold, very aggressive activists. They not only invented the sport of hockey, they revolutionized it. From every position, the slap shot, everything, the style of skating, all of that. That was us. So we're going to cover this again in the future. But in the meantime, I just wanted to put that out there. Feel free to comment on it, your objections, and do research on it. Don't just give me some of your blurted out opinions without doing any investigating. Google it. Go to the library, find out about it for yourself. My name is Chris Stevenson. Thank you for watching Policy and Prejudice. You be safe.
All right. So yeah, that was from, I don't know if it was his production, but this channel brought it up for everybody, CLB TV. Thanks a lot for sharing that with everybody. Guys, go hit the like button there. All right, subscribe if you like the channel. All right, so I just wanted to show you this and so you can see and correlate who we're talking about. Now let's go back to the book. Undoubtedly, this use is facilitated making reference to all slaves as Negroes or negers in the Dutch language. Moreover, it is significant that a Spaniard residing in Antwerp in the early 17th century, the preparer of the dictionary, saw Negro as being translated in a number of ways in both French and Dutch. By the latter half of the 16th century, the English were referring to the peoples of Africa as Ethiopians, Blackamoors, Negroes, and Moors, somewhat interchangeably. All right? Who they were doing that to? People of Africa. Not America, people of Africa. All right? Because all these terms just meant people who had dark skin. Interchangeable, but it was the people of Africa they were calling Moors, Blackamoors. Negro gradually came to be the dominant term, especially after exhaustive contact with the Spanish and the Portuguese. Early legislation commonly referred to Negro and other slaves. We got that a lot. Remember I told you that why they always classifying American Indians, Negroes, and other slaves together, or to Negro, mulatto, and Indian slaves. See, they always had them together because they knew it was the same people. Over the years, Negro and Black both became synonymous with enslavement. All right. And then we got info. It says here, from Indian to color, to Negro to Black to African American. Right. So labels play an important role in defining groups and individuals who belong to the groups. This has been especially true for racial and ethnic groups in general, and for Blacks in particular over the past century. The standard term for Blacks has shifted from colored to Negro to Black, and now perhaps African American. All right. Now, where does that start? It says history. It says in 1988, Reverend Jesse Jackson, with the help of the American government, convinced America's Black population to adopt a now legal term, African American. I was weaponized and pushed in majority white-owned media as a term many people.
Nah, I got to narrate things. Now, the film I was showing y'all with our elder Steve Coakley, peace be among him, when I talked about the Boule, and I haven't even got all in the film when he started showing that Jesse Jackson, all them, and when I start showing you stuff, it all connects, man. It's not no, how we could say, osmosis.
Color were in support of, but in reality, it had no real support from the Black community. So they used the media, right? We learned, right, of the media, the influence they use is a big weapon they use against us, right? The media to influence our mind, to influence the general public, all right? So they're saying they were pushing it on the media, that it was a big thing amongst, everybody in America was loving the term. All in every hood, everybody was loving it. Oh yeah, call me African. No, that was not true. There's no real support from the Black community. It had no choice in the matter, not even a vote. You didn't even get a vote. You're like, you want to call yourself African American? Well, too bad, too late. You have to now from now on. The term started to seep into the culture at large. It was used like all other name changes. This time, dissociate any American Indian with dark skin from the continent. So that was the final strike right there. Because then they put the African, so automatically everybody forgets the origin. You being indigenous to this land. Because maybe before that you were like, well, I'm Negro, I'm colored, but I'm also Indian. But now they don't even want the kids, everybody, the next generations to even think about that. So they add that African right there. Right? So it's always like African. So you say African American, you put in Africa first. Right? It's all subliminal. These are all spelling. Right?
Father for you. Here go. And his books to go with. I'm saying everything is written. This is what they study. Look who up on the shoulders. Look at it. Look at that crown work. Back to the film. What'd you say, cuz? Oh, the scimitar? Yeah, the scimitar is dope.
This was the final nail in the coffin on erasing the identities of the people once referred to the copper-colored races of America. Copper-colored. And so that was a good info on that. Remember, it was a hijack that started in the 80s, all right? We weren't called African American before that. You can pull up books from one source, one book from like the 1700s. That doesn't mean everybody was calling themselves that. That was probably actual African American. There is actual African Americans that came from Africa. All right, let's go ahead and get to this part of the book, or this tribe, what's named here the Blackfoot or Blackfeet tribe. All right, so let's get into the information regarding the Blackfeet. It says Blackfoot, Blackfeet. It says Blackfoot, U.S. and Blackfeet, Canada. There are 4 divisions of Blackfoot, Blackfeet. Those in Canada are called Northern Blackfeet and consist of Northern Siksika, Central Blood Kainai or Kaina, Northern Piegan or Piikani, All right, so that's interesting.
Pecan.
Kaina or Kainan, Kana, Canada, Kanan, Kana, Kanan, Kana. Very interesting. So again, there's Northern Pagan or Picani. Those in the U.S. are referred to as Southern Blackfoot, the Amskapi Pagan. I have grouped both Canadian and U.S. here all together, though many Canadians will also be found in Native Americans.
And I want to show y'all something. You see this picture? This is what I'm going to show y'all when all my tribe come to the Heard Museum for our 3rd annual Morris Ball on Friday. Look at the natives with their attire, and look what they do after so-called Indian boarding school. You see, when they cut their hair and everything. Now, if that was an American dark like that, he'll be classified as a Negro, which they were. Look how they made him look. Look from this. Look at all this to this. Strip you of your culture. I'm telling you. So can't nobody sit up here and argue with history.
First Nations. Says the Blackfoot Confederacy, Nipsitapi or Siksikaitsitapi, meaning the people or Blackfoot speaking real people, is a historic collective name for linguistically related groups that make up the Blackfoot or Blackfeet people. The Siksika, Blackfoot, the Kainai or Kaina, blood, and 2 sections of the Picani, Pagan Blackfeet. The Northern Picani, Pato, Si Picani, and the Southern Picani, Amskapi Picani or Pikuni. Broader definitions include groups like the Sutina, the Sarsi, and Anining, the Gros Ventre. Spoke quite different languages, but allied or joined with the Blackfoot Confederacy as well. Historically, the member peoples of the Confederacy were nomadic bison hunters and trout fishermen who ranged across large areas of the northern Great Plains of western North America, specifically the semi-arid shortgrass prairie ecological region. They followed the bison herds as they migrated between what are now the United States and Canada, as far north as the Bow River. In the first half of the 18th century, they acquired horses and firearms from white traders and their Cree and Assiniboine go-betweens. The Blackfoot used these to expand their territory at the expense of neighboring tribes. All right, so you see there was war, tribal war amongst the tribe, and forced slavery and all that. All right, so there's a lot of info on the Blackfeet. Again, go ahead and take the time to read that on your own. Let's go to the images. So it says here we got Winnipeg Jack, aka Dog Child. All right. And a lot of people have been commenting, and this is something we notice. Like how all the rappers, right? They got those names, right? Or just in the street when you got your name, But Dog Child, Doggy Dog, Dog Child, Winnipeg Jack. All right. So this is Winnipeg Jack right here. All right, let me just zoom out so we can read the text. We've probably seen this on the internet. It says Medicine Chief, Winnipeg Jack, Northwest Mounted, Police Scout, and Interpreter. This is in Alberta, Canada, 1890. All right, Canada, Canadians, Aboriginal Canadians. You see this? Blackfeet. All right, he's really dark skinned. All right. Let's go to another image. All right, so I just wanted to show you a colorized version of this picture. This is from the internet, allposters.com, but it's all over the internet. Actually, if you go to any where they have archives of Indians, you'll appear. That's where they got their picture from. Actually, I just picked to the website. So as you can see, very dark complexion, hue, copper-colored tribes of America. All right, he would be called an African American today. Just cut his hair a little bit. We saw in the first video, Charging Thunder, how he looked, and then without his, his hair short and everything. All right, regular clothes on, but that's you. Look, this is an Aboriginal from Canada. Canada, man, look at his complexion. Look how dark it is. Canada. This is what a Canadian looks like. Canada. This is what a real Canadian looks like, an Aboriginal. All right. talking about there was so-called black people there since ancient times. All right, covered the whole world. These are not just Mongols. So if you're saying they're Mongols, then the Mongols were very dark-skinned then, right? I guess so. And then we're talking about Russians. Those were the real Mongols. Then we're talking about Russians were dark-skinned then. So you got to dig into all that stuff. But this is an Aboriginal. This is a Blackfeet Indian from Canada, all right? Winnipeg Jack. All right, so, back in the book of American Tribes, Chiefs, and Warriors and their stories, all right? This is the black and white version. All right, that's the hijack, talking about teepees and all that. I mean, wasn't always like that. So we got another image right here. It's another Blackfoot or Blackfeet Indian. All right, check this out. On his horse, riding it. Look at that, chilling, you guys. Fringes on his horse too, on his seat. All right. Yeah, look at that. You remember who you are? This is what they've been hiding. They've been hiding. You're just finding out right now. And if you're new to my channel, I encourage you to go watch my previous videos. We're not talking about any mixture with Africans here. We're not talking about that. Well, there had to have been some Africans that were enslaved. You got to understand the whole story. So I would like to show you that, but you got to really take the time to pay attention. And I know it's a lot of information, but you got to let go of what you think is true, what you think is history, without having no proof. Right? There is no slave ships. Dane just pulled out a very good video explaining how they brainwashed you into thinking there was, how they hypnotized you, how they got you with the visuals, and the constant hypnotizing spells like African, slave, ships, slave ships. It's just putting words and spells in you. But this is an Aboriginal. He is what you would call an African American today. You cut this person's hair, I put some regular clothes on, throw him in Chicago or somewhere, any hood in the U.S., and you're going to forget he was a Blackfoot Indian. So let's see who this person is. See if they've got some info here. All right. Oh, we don't got no. Well, then that might be Winnipeg Jag, maybe. Same person. Might be Winnipeg Jag, huh? All right. Can verify that. Not sure. Let me just make sure. Back up. All right. Look at that. Riding your horse majestically. All right. Majestically. Okay, now right here we got Medicine Man and Winnipeg Jack, Blackfoot Indians, circa 1930. All right, let me just zoom in real quick. A little bit more. All right. And Blackfoot Indians, you got the women and the children. All right, so that's showing hijack. See that? Aboriginals. So this must be in Canada as well. All right, Aboriginals. All right. Just back up a little bit. All right, got another image right here. All right, it's this guy right here. Just zoom into him. Look at that. All right. Cut his hair, put on the hood. Or anywhere in America, just walking around with regular clothes. Oh yeah, African American. Oh, that's a Negro or a colored person. Well, actually, he's an Aboriginal. He's a Blackfoot Indian. All right, if that's his squad, she might be mixed, she might not be, but I know he's an Aboriginal. All right, let me back up. Just back up, get it clear. Get their clothing. Whoa, he got a sword. Wait a minute, look at his sword. Remember we used to walk around with swords and stuff? You used to walk around with your gun and your sword. So you got your gun and your sword. All right, and you warm. You got, what's that, a fur coat? You got a fur coat on. You got your nice shoes on. You got your sword. All right, you ain't playing. This guy ain't playing, man. All right. Got no info here, but they're Blackfoot. So let me just read a little bit about Winnipeg Jack. First guy we saw, right? Oh, I guess this is Winnipeg Jack. Or are they all supposed to be? Yeah, I guess they're supposed to be. I'm not exactly sure. It's him and all of them, but it says Winnipeg Jack, aka Dogchild, says a Sika Blackfoot medicine chief turned NWMP scout with the Northwest Mounted Police named Dogchild, also known as Winnipeg Jack. As a scout, Dogchild was known for tracking horse thieves that ran stock across the U.S. border. Dogchild's equipment appears to come from no single source, and his outfit is a composite of various styles and origins. Right? He was making his own styles. His bowler hat is decorated with several feathers, while his hair is long and tightly braided. He appears to wear shiny discs, possibly as earrings. A bead and choker hang around his neck, partially covered by his buffalo fur coat. I told you he had a fur coat on, and he's nice and warm with that buffalo fur coat. Can you imagine walking around with a nice warm buffalo coat? You're getting cold. These coats were still being used to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police well into the 20th century, and were warm but very heavy. You have to be strong to carry that. It says Dogchild carries a holstered revolver, Hickok style, which is secured on a large linked chain. It was the custom of the Northwest Mounted Police. All right, so you hear this was the first Mountie? Are you telling me this is one of the original Mounties, those Canadian Mounties, you know? You hear what we're reading here, right? This is how they started. This is how their Mountie system started. All right, who was doing that? It was the Aboriginals. Of course, they were the ones who were going to go track down people. It's their land, and it's their history and their skills to track. You know, that's an indigenous thing. So, of course, these first Mounties would probably be American Indians, all right? Now, it was the, again, custom of the Northwest Mounted Police to secure their revolvers with a white lanyard in a manner somewhat similar to that used by Dogchild. All right, so this is what they're talking about, this chain that's on the gun right here. You see that? The Mountie. All right, so look at him on his horse. That's him. That's the original Mountie right there. Canadian Mountie. That's the original right there. An original Canadian Mountie. All right, don't tell me it's not. All right, you guys hijack everything. So I know what I'm reading here. They don't have to say these are the original Mounties, you know, wherever, you know, the information is coming from. But I can understand how they became, you know, how they got their Mountie, system. You know, their police, their Mountie police. All right. So it says about Dogchild himself, little is known, but there are several photos of him. He appears on the 1896-98 Blackfoot Band annuity pay list, but no date of birth or any personal data is given. Surprisingly, Dogchild holds an unsheathed Japanese samurai katana sword. All right, he got a samurai katana sword. The scabbard is slung over his buffalo coat. There is no record of Norman Capel having brought the sword with him. And in any case, all of his other photographs of the Blackfoot are noted for their realism. Where and how Dogchild came to possess such a weapon, one can only speculate. It remains one of the mysteries of the Canadian West. He's a samurai too. Go ahead and try him. Got his gun and a katana sword, man. Don't want to mess with this guy. Mountie, one of the original Mounties, all right, with his horses. All right. Winnipeg Jack. All right, it says here we got Chief Three Bears. All right. There's also a Blackfoot, Chief Three Bears. All right, this is him right here. All right. Chief Three Bears. Another picture of him from the side. His feather headdress. Another one right here. All right, is there mixture there? Maybe. We can't generalize. Right here, he looks very dark, actually. I think I know this picture. He's standing next to a pale-skinned person, or a lighter, or European descendant. Yeah, they cut him out. But that's him right here. That's him again right here. A lot of pictures of him. Chief Three Bears again. Chief Three Bears. All right, with his fringes and everything. All right. Now we got Medicine Owl Pikuni. Medicine Owl Pikuni. Pikuni. All right. Do you see this? All right. Copper-colored tribes of America. This is a so-called Negro. He would be classified as an African American today. All right. See all his gear. Very old photo. That's him right there. Just back up. All right. It's another picture of him. There you go. On the side. All right. Copper-colored tribes of America. And this is him as well. Got his long braid coming down. Yeah. Looks very fit. All right. Looks like a warrior. All right, now I want you to look at this picture because I'm going to show you something. I just want to show you how they whitewash images, all right, when they colorize them. And those are the images that they were giving us a lot of the time, all right? So look at him, this is a copper-colored person. Let's go. All right, so I'm on Flickr now, and you see how they whitewashed him a little bit. They try to make him look more a little pale. They have some kind of tint or hue, discoloration, but you can see his gear at least. Look how ill that is. The gear. All right, his headdress. All right, but yeah, they try to whitewash him. So it says Medicine Owl, Blackfoot Indian, Medicine Man, all right, Glacier National Park, Montana. That's what this photo's from. So let's go back. All right, you see? See how they switched it up? Try to make it look like he's a little pale, or just like mulatto looking. But yeah, man, he's a little, he's dark. Even if they try to make him look a little yellow on that picture, they have their reasons for that, because they don't want you to think even one trace of, what might be considered a so-called Negro, just trying to throw you off completely. Medicine Owl is an Aboriginal. A little bit of history about Medicine Owl. Says here, panel number 28, History of Chief Medicine Owl, the oldest son of Chief Black Bear. Written in 1950, the history is written on a mountain goat skin killed by Medicine Owl on Rising Wolf Mountain near Two Medicine Lake long before that part of the Blackfeet Reservation was made a national park. Chief Medicine Owl was much respected by the tribe. The weasel suit is of an older style, showing much wear. Age has faded the black water spirits that were painted all over it, symbolizing protection that he received as part of the ritual transfer. The leggings have black painted stripes representing the war coupe of the original owner. Some of these suits were transferred through several generations and survived numerous battles. You hear that? Others were buried with their only owners. The raw hide cut of a horse at the top of Medicine Owl's coupe stick represent especially noteworthy mount that he once captured. The feathers and hair locks are assumed to represent scalps and other war adventures of his. All right, we're talking about this image. So you understand, all right, what these things hanging? So scalps, all right. How all this had a meaning, all right. So that was Medicine Man, right? Medicine Owl, sorry. Blackfoot. All right, got another image here. These,
Look at his neck piece. Watch this.
all right. this lady right here. And I want to read the text to you. It says, Mary Roberts Reinhardt, adopted member of the Blackfeet Indians, snapped with 4 chiefs of the tribe in Washington, D.C. Today, Chief Matt Bloom on her, it says right, so on her right here, right, Matt Bloom. This guy right here.
I'm gonna show you what's on his neck. Look right. Hold on.
Matt Bloom.
You see that? You see a scimitar on his neck? You see the crescent and the star upside down like the Masons wear? When I say everything comes from us, they copy it. You can't let nobody twist your science. Just like the Eastern stars. You are the star from the East. But they just turn your shit, just like Hitler did the pentagram. And I'm going to show y'all, the so-called swastika. And I'm going to show you when we go to the Herb Museum. Look at his neck piece. See that?
Whew, that's hot. I need some. I'm sweating.
Right? And then it says Chief Two Gun White Cap on her left. Alright, Chief Two Cap White Cap right here. So she's adopted. She's obviously not an aboriginal. She got adopted or whatever that means. Then we got him right here. They don't give his name there. See this? Alright, Upper Colored Tribes of America.
Oh, I'm back. Hurry up.
What?
Hurry up, man.
Back up again, go down to the next image. Says here, Chief Two Guns, White Cap, Blackfoot right here. Alright. This is colorized, but you see how they kind of have his face a little, trying to get a little like orangey red, but just look at him overall. Look at his chest. He's a colored person. It says Canadian Indian Life Chief Two Guns, White Cap, Blackfoot, bottom. Alright. See that?
Oh, it's all good.
Chief Two Guns, White Cap. Alright, so now we got this other image, right? You guys have probably seen this. I've shown this image around with another one that's photoshopped with somebody
standing like me.
famous, and I know you already know who it is. This is Chief High Eagle, Blackfoot, Calgary, Alberta, about 1925. See, this is an aboriginal from Canada. What does that look like? All right, what does that resemble to you? Tell me he don't look like or resemble Morgan Freeman a little bit. You know, Morgan Freeman, the actor.
Yeah, he do.
Now look at his gear. All right, his fringes. His fringes and his, you know what this is too. You know who used to wear all this? Describe wearing all this. Why? All right, I just want to go to this picture right here. Again, Chief High Eagle of Blackfoot in 1925. Look at that. All right. He would be labeled, cut his hair, he would be labeled African American today, walking around. And just like, let me just go back to this image. Moment. All right, so you see this? This image I did right here. Quan Alarkin Maribel. Is that his name? Is that what the name they gave him? All right. All right. See Morgan Freeman here. You see a little bit of resemblance. All right. Check out his gear. All right. This is Chief High Eagle. And you already know that Morgan Freeman, he got on that show. And he was like, all of a sudden I became African. I'm not African.
Yeah.
I'm an American. I'm not African. He's letting you know. He knows he's not from Africa. He's from here. He's not an African. All right. Show that on a past video. All right. You decide, right? But there's a lot of resemblance there. All right. Let's go back to the book. Chief High Eagle again. From 1925, this picture. All right, another Blackfoot Indian. Another image here. It says Blackfoot Shaman at Calgary Exhibition and Stampede, September 1912. All right, Shaman, a Blackfoot Shaman. All right, see back here, another one.
American Indian.
See, these are all aboriginals right here. Back here, see back here. Alright, see him. Shaman. Here's the gear. The horns. Alright, it says medicine man of the Blackfoot Indians. Alright, another image here. We have Chief Whitecalf.
Look at the
Blackfoot,
fans.
1891. It says.
Look at the fans. Look at the fans. It's Tarboosh.
Chief Whitecalf says here. His whole attire. Alright, that's Chief Whitecalf. Alright, time to get a close up. Alright, back up.
About the Indian.
This image right here says Chief Turtle, Siksika Blackfoot, 1923. Alright,
Look at that fedora
Chief Turtle.
that the misnomer Mexicans like to wear now, fedoras.
Alright, that's Chief Turtle right there. His hat.
Forever.
Alright, we're at another image right here, Blackfoot. Alright, just take a really good look at him. I'm actually zoomed in, I'm gonna zoom out. Alright, just want to show you this. I just wanted to show you this person right here. Alright. Just zoom out. See? Got two more on this side. Alright, are these mixed? Maybe. This one looks pretty. I mean, it doesn't look that mixed. I mean, his features. Alright, but what are we saying here, right? What are we really saying? It's all conjecture unless we really can prove it.
And when they showed that European lady over there adopted, it's just like now in Africa, no disrespect to anyone. You see how a lot of them older European ladies that go to them African countries and have sex with them young African boys? Think about it.
Cut his hair. Again, put him around other so-called Negroes and they're just gonna call him an African American. I just cut his long hair. Alright. There's some words. This is a group of words inside the Lush, Blackfoot, Siksika, Alberta, 1910. Alright. Alright, this image we got Chief's running rabbit, Blackfeet. Alright, you can see him right here. Let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah, this is a smaller version of it, same picture. More zoomed out. Alright, this other image we have Emo Jimmy, it says here, Blackfeet warrior, Mathers, Edmonton. I believe that's in Canada or Montana, I don't know. 1885. Well, I can go Google it right now, but I'm sure it's up there in those regions. And well, it was telling earlier that the Blackfeet were in Canada, right?
1885.
But this is Emo Jimmy. Just look at him real quick.
Mohammed.
Far away. All right, let me just close in on him. That's a brother right there. Look at that. Can't say that's not a so-called Negro.
He kind of looked like the
All right,
little
do you
dude
remember who
from
you
Flip.
are?
What's the dude's
Look at
name?
this.
For real.
All right.
He like for
So
real.
you're saying, all the Plains
He
Indians
like
are
for real.
Mongols? That's not true. That's not true. That's generalizing and, it's not accurate. Copper-colored tribes of America, not just of the East Coast. It's all the continent, And yes, there's mixing again, but this brother don't know that he's mixed. Copper-colored tribes, this Aboriginal, will be classified as an African American today. Look at that. All right. Again, it's Emo Jimmy.
Imani.
Alright, this next image right here. Alright, just look at him. His style, his whole style. You got the tomahawk right here. Pipe tomahawk. Now his name is Chief Boy, Blackfeet Indian. Chief Boy. Almost sound like a rapper, right? Chief Boy, Blackfeet Indian. You don't look like you want to mess around with him.
He got a pipe on his hatchet, man.
All right,
Watch.
Chief Boy.
Watch him,
What you saying, Chief Boy? Yeah, Blackfeet Indian.
Pipe on that
All right,
man. Look at that.
with his fur vest. All right,
Look at it.
Who
Black
made that?
Blackfeet Indian.
He did.
Huh?
He did.
That's what I'm just saying. I said he made that.
All right.
Well, I just wanted to play that with y'all, show you a little bit of something, man. A little history. Like I said, it's in books. And nothing's new under the sun. I'll play some more. We got a lot more. When my nobles come out here for our 3rd annual Moorish Ball, at the picture I showed you, let me find it before I close. Where they stripped you from they strip everything off of you. Your name and everything. And when I tell people, in certain areas, I'm not denouncing slavery and all these things, but everyone that was not from no Africa, no slave per se. I tell you, I'm a Moorish American. I'm an American. I choose to be a Moorish American. Do we have that India, that native to the land? Yes. But I deal with specifics. So with that being said, man, I love y'all and peace.